So Rachel's starving, so we're gonna go get some food before we put the intake in. So while we're driving, I'm gonna get some footage and try to show you kind of what the stock intake sounds like, or rather what it doesn't sound like right now. And then once we're done with the install, we'll take another ride and see if the camera can pick up a difference. She also just got some brand new Michelin Alpine PA4 snow tires put on this morning. Which unfortunately was our only choice right now that we could get a hold of to get on this car. So they should be epic through the winter, but very pricey for what they are. So we'll have to see how we'll see how they do through this winter. But she is figuring out how these new tires feel. She said they do feel super grippy. And in the little bit of snow that we had laying around this morning, they felt pretty good too.
We're unstoppable now.
The exhaust is popping away as always.
Oh.
That's not how that works, dude. I usually swing around and then find a spot. I come here a lot. Find it eventually, don't worry. So we're gonna go ahead and unbox it. Rachel bought herself a bunch of COBB goodies.
The most important part right there.
So looked at all the other options and decided she needed carbon fiber. So we went with the COBB option for all the modifications so far. So this is the intake. So that's just all the fittings, elbows and such. This is probably the rest of the hardware, maybe the filter or something. So that's our filter. With the open end, because the stock air box caps that off, but the COBB filter opens that end up so you get a little more airflow. And then we've got the pipe and the cover.
Ooh. It's pretty.
And it weighs like nothing.
Got it?
So, all molded carbon fiber. Looks really nice. So we got the bracket molded in. And then the lid. There we go. COBB SF intake systems.
Do it. Don't rub it.
Another pretty piece of carbon fiber. So let's go get dirty. Well, this is the whole kit laid out. 3 couplers, filter, carbon tube, and the cover. And here's the stock system we're replacing. Like I said, you can see that end with the factory one is capped off. And then when the hood shuts, it actually closes on top of this and kind of seals this top section off. which it does the same thing with the COBB, but you can kind of see you have like just a little gap here, and this front section is really the only actual openings on this air box. Other than, and then you've got kind of this ram intake tube that runs into the box. But so that's where the new box, this end is open, and that's kind of where you get your increased airflow. And then of course it eliminates the ribbed rubber, which will help airflow there, and then replaces this entire piece all the way down back to the back of the engine back here. So we did not find any instructions in the box, so you must have to look them up online, which means we're gonna go ahead and just wing it. We're gonna pull all these pieces out and then see if we can figure out how to put the new ones in. Okay, so we've already got the old system totally torn out. So it's the 2 plastic pipes, a rubber boot, filter, cover. So it reuses the stock lower part of the box along, because this sensor is in this elbow, and I don't think they wanted to redo this elbow and the bottom and everything. That also lets you still use kind of the ram air system that comes from the factory that basically pulls air in from this area. There are other intake systems that actually mount a little like ram air scoop right in this piece of mesh that you can't really see, and run into this system, but the COBB system just uses the stock lower with the stock kind of ram air system. So to get this off, you have to pull these little covers off of the windshield cowl. There's 2 bolts there, there's 2 bolts here, and then there's 4 little plastic clips, and then this whole lower panel slides out from underneath. There's a few bolts along here. You have to clip I think that's the fuel line or something there, off. And then you can reach down in here and actually disconnect. So that's where the intake slots onto the turbo right there. So you have to reach down beside here, take a last clamp off, and then the whole thing pops out. So right now the car has 0 intake on it. So we are now going to begin the install of the new COBB system. Well, that is it all installed. So as you can see here, that's the new carbon fiber cover. The filter in there, nice and open and breathable on the end there. And then you've got the coupler, carbon fiber pipe, 1 piece versus the factory 2 piece, and that leads all the way down there where you see that silver clamp right in the middle there, all the way down there to the turbo. So that is in. We're going to take a quick test drive in a minute, see if we can tell a difference in the intake sound while driving. A couple other things the kit that she got include is we did get a COBB access port, which is super easy to install. The one annoying piece to that is you do have to pop the OBD2 port down here. The cable's too long, so you can't close this door. So you have to, there's 2 little clips, you have to pop it back under the dash to plug it in, and then we just ran the cord out here under the steering wheel, and then use the little sticky mount to mount it right here so it's next to the gauges in the car. So, and that was a super easy install. You just plug it in, turn the car on, it figures out what the vehicle is, and then you tell it which tune you want, which we did stage 191 octane tune. Then it will download all the information from your car to it, and then it uploads the tune to your car, and you're good to go. You don't have to keep it plugged in if you don't want, even once it's once the tune is loaded, but if you do leave it in, you can do lots of diagnostic tools. You can also run a bunch of gauges, so that part's pretty cool because you can have a live readout of your coolant temp, or we've got coolant temp and boost pressure, so we can constantly watch that. So that's it in. We'll go take a drive now. And also shout out to Kevin and his crew over at Auto Film Solutions. They cut out these custom Colorado flag inserts for all the RS logos. And then they also did these rear quarter kind of stressed Colorado flag matte decals just for these little rear windows. And those came out really good. All right. Little whistle.
Is that a good whistle?
It happens. We may have to replace, so I was looking into this because Adam's car does it too. And what it is, there's a little it's like a little rubber kind of boot on part of the intake, that it's like a vibration dampener for air, and so once you make the intake more high flow, that doesn't do its job anymore. So you have to get an extended one, and they do make them. You can just buy a little extended piece and replace it. So if that gets to be too annoying.
That's what
You
it
can
was.
definitely hear the,
Yeah, it's like a.
you can hear that waste gate now. Finally.
Green light?
Yep.
It's a little
Then just kind of load the boost and let off a few times.
Dang, I don't know, it's gonna pop for me.
Hear that?
Yeah.
I hope that comes through on the camera. It's not super obvious. It's not like a crazy blow off, you know, psh type thing, but it's just real subtle. What do we think? Are we happy?
We like it, but that little high pitch in the beginning, it sounds like something's rubbing. So.
It's just a wind howl. Adam's, because he just has the COBB filter, he doesn't have a full intake system yet. Hint, hint, Adam. His just does it like on full throttle. You'll hear a little like whistling, howling noise. So I researched it, and that's what I found was everybody says it's because you've just got increased airflow. I think COBB and Mountoon both have, it's just like this little couple inch long like rubber kind of boot that you have to replace. So we may have to do that if it gets too annoying, but that's all it is. If it just sounded like when the hood's open all the time, it'd be a lot cooler, but that's where I'm talking. So this, you can kind of see the horseshoe shape. It actually seals off the very top of that box when the hood's closed, and that's why it's so much quieter when the hood's closed, but it is what it is. And here are those Michelin she got put on this morning. We just had them put on the factory wheels. And these are actually the same tires. Ford offers, you can buy through the dealership their winter tire kit. And what that is these tires, but on an 18-inch rim. But we didn't want that set of tire, or wheels rather, so we stuck with the factory 19s for now, and then just had them put these Michelin Alpine PA4s. So you can see it's got lots of siping. It is a winter tire, but it's a high performance winter tire, so it does have some pretty deep grooves, but the actual contact patch is still pretty serious, so it should still have great grip even when it's not snowing, but they're super soft. I mean, you can easily dig a fingernail into these things, so they're gonna wear out super quick, but we'll just be running them in the winter, of course, and next summer we'll get the pilot cups or Pilot Sports, whichever this one came with. We'll get those back on there, but this is the other logo he did on the front there. It said Autofilm Solutions. They also did the full front clear bra on this car as well to protect the paint. So if you have needs for them and you're in the Colorado Springs area, hit them up. Oh, and the one other thing that did come with her Stage 1 kit is the rear engine mount. Some folks say it makes it really harsh, and others really like it for the track. We're going to go ahead and throw it in on a warmer day and see if she likes it or not. If not, we'll pull it back out if it's just way too harsh. But if it feels good, we'll run that as well. But I would say overall, it is a pretty super easy install if you have just a few hand tools and an afternoon's worth of time. Really not a hard part at all to install. The carbon fiber parts are strong, they're nicely made, so definitely recommend this if you're looking for a high-end intake for your RS. So eventually I'll get another video on that thing, maybe if you're lucky. Maybe someday we'll do some videos with this beast as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this helps out someone if anybody's considering this intake or looking for some information about installing it. Hopefully that gives you a good idea what it sounds like, what it looks like, how difficult / easy it is to install. So throw a comment if you got anything to say, and thanks so much for watching.